Welcome to the session on activism in the academy, how the Centre for Research in Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship is responding to the COVID crisis. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out to attend our session. My name is Monda Ram. I'm Professor of Small Business at Aston University and the Director for the Centre for Research in Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship, CREM. It's a bit of a mouthful. I'm delighted to be joined by a number of colleagues on the call today, on the session today, who are all going to be talking about what everyone's talking about, COVID-19, how COVID-19 is affecting their businesses. But before I introduce them, and they are all superstars in their own right, let me say a few words about what CREM is. Most sane people wouldn't have heard of CREM. But we have been going for a number of years, 16 years. We are the leading research centre in ethnic minority entrepreneurship, and we're comfortably nestled in Aston University within the business schools. Our job is threefold. First, we do what academics normally do, which is to push the boundaries of knowledge. And what we want to do is be at the cutting edge of diversity and entrepreneurship. Second, what we also do is work very closely with policymakers and practitioners to try and get them to think seriously about what diversity means for them. And third, and perhaps most importantly, we work directly with businesses. And on the call this morning, on the session this morning, we have a number of business owners who we work with. We engage, we are working on a number of different exciting projects. But the project that we're going to feature today is a 3-year initiative that aims to boost productivity in micro businesses. What productivity means is a contested point. Normally when people think about productivity, they think it's about widgets, but really it's something that all of us in business work with, whether we realize it or not. We want to understand what it means in very small businesses we call micro businesses. We want to share that knowledge after understanding what it means with the business support community. And third, we want to make a difference to businesses. On the call today, we have a number of colleagues who are working on the project. They're all from the business or civil society community, and they're all working with us to understand what productivity means and, most importantly, support businesses with that understanding. So that's enough from me, and that's the warm-up act over. So now let me move on to the first of a three parts to this presentation. This presentation is going to look at 3 different sectors, and so we're going to divide it originally into part 1, part 2, and part 3. We're going to kick off with part 1, which is looking at the impact of COVID on the creative sector, particularly in Birmingham and the West Midlands, where the project is based. So as part of the project, what it's aiming to do is work with a number of creatives who are supporting creative businesses and actually creatives themselves to understand what it means and how we can support them during this challenging time. And one of our key partners in the project is a really established and influential music promotion company called Punch Records. And I'm really delighted that we have the creative director for Punch Records with us today, Simon Redgrave. Simon, tell us a bit about Punch and give us some perspectives from your point of view on how COVID is affecting the creative sector in the Midlands and Birmingham in particular.
Hello, Monda. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Long time listener, first time caller, and I'm delighted to be on your show.
Thank you.
So, well, I have actually prepared some facts because I know that academics like facts. So there's three questions that you asked. Is how's COVID affected the sector? And the lockdown really, I think, has been the most damaging. What's the impact on our business and working with yourselves? Well, our business has two strands which are complementary. One is that we work with emerging artists in talent development and also their professional development as well, to get them established in the industry. And the second strand is that we tour artists, not just emerging artists, but also established artists as well. And in theory, the second strand supports the first. Now, looking at the sector, obviously, the biggest impact on the sector, as I think everybody will have seen on the television, is shuttered venues. So gigs have stopped, theatre performances have stopped, music, basically, where the rubber hits the road in the cultural sector is where audiences come to see and listen to artists. That's where the monetary exchange happens. That's where the magic exchange happens, and that has not been happening. So for those businesses whose primary source of income and whose primary reason to exist is to bring audiences and artists together, it has been it's obviously been a calamity, because although there have been various attempts, which you keep seeing on BBC, about socially distanced performances. There was one I saw in America where for some reason they filled the auditorium with plants and then performed anyway. You can't run a business model with plants unless you're a gardening centre. So and this isn't us, in which we're very fortunate, but if you're a venue, it's very finely tuned about how you work with, how you may work with shows that are sort of loss leaders and subsidised by others, by the amount of, for instance, if you're like a high-profile venue that likes to do operas that nobody else wants to see, then you'll run panto for 3 months in order to subsidise the other things. So these things are all very highly tuned, very finely tuned, and the disruption in that not only puts those businesses at risk, it puts everybody that's involved in that sort of, to use the word ecosystem, there I got that in, buzzword bingo, ecosystem at risk. So it's the people who work in the venue, their accountants, their marketing people, their website people, the front of house staff, the freelance staff who are involved, plus the artists, plus the people who work with them, plus the people who are part of and run small businesses about the venues where this happens, the food takeaway shops. So it's something that's difficult to monitor, have an idea what the impact will be. Now, have I got any more time?
Yeah, just a couple of sentences, and then I'm really keen to hear about from Namaya in a minute.
Okay, well, I've got some stats. I won't come in with the stats just yet.
Yeah, but we can come back to some. We can come back as well.
Tell you what, I'll come back. I'll circle round.
Yeah, circle round. That sounds good.
Circle round.
Yeah. All right. Let me bring Namaya in now, and then we'll come back.
Hang on. I can actually intro Namaya.
Yeah, well, please do.
I was a professional who worked in this business. So we're working with emerging artists. That's people who are going to come on the scene and they are going to make a difference. They're going to find genres. They're working in interesting ways. These are the people who are being impacted most by the lockdown, because there are fewer projects, there are fewer job opportunities, and for the ones that exist, the competition is intense. And so it's going to be those people who've got the networks, who've got the contacts, who are in who are in with the system that are going to survive, rather than people who are challenging the system and bringing in something new. Now, Namoa is one of those young artists who is bringing in something new.
Excellent, excellent. Namaya, I'm dying to hear from you. Incidentally,
Hi, guys.
congratulations on your song that you performed at Symphony Hall. I saw it on video.
Thank you so much.
And,
You checked it out. Thank you.
yeah, no, it was really odd because I was there earlier in the day for something,
Oh, no
and then
way.
I saw you. Yeah, so fate. So anyway, how have you been during lockdown?
Yeah, do you know what? I think this Zoom has given me a different reason to reflect. So I actually looked back over the last couple of weeks and realised that I've done quite a lot of things, and I've been very productive, and almost you could look at that because I wrote a list and I looked at the list and I thought, is that healthy? Like, is that my anxiety? Or is that like me being super productive? Would I have done that anyway? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I've done a lot of things. I've performed, I've written, I've literally set up a company, I've applied for funding. I've been working with like Amo and Simon. Simon's an angel. Like, let's get that correct, everybody. Simon is definitely an angel. I know there's smoke,
Thank you.
but it's halo rings. It's not.
He's a business angel and a real life angel.
Yeah, no, honestly, a godsend, because like I've just been going back and forth with them about some of my business ideas through P Word, and even before P Word, to be real, like that's been like, I think what Simon said about touching on what networks you already have is going to either enable you or it's going to make it really difficult for you if you're not in like certain communities or networks already. And
Can you just say what the P word is, Namaya?
Oh, yeah, sure. So the P Word is a 9-month incubator development program. I think there's about 10 of us on there, 10 young entrepreneurs or Black businesses, or anybody who's from a minority community, but I think everybody is from Black or African Caribbean descent at the moment. And yeah, it's an incubator program where we have like a series of different workshops, one-to-one sessions, mentoring. That's all designed and geared to us being productive in our business or creative venture. And everyone's at different stages. Some people have been like established in their field for years now and already have a business, like Daniel. He's got a film company that's been going for the last few years. Or someone like myself who's got like freelance experience and artistic experience, but has literally just put in like forms into company's house and kind of starting something. So everybody's at different stages, but yeah, I'm loving it. I'm actually loving it. Like, I feel like you get out what you put in, basically. And because I'm like at a place in my life where I feel that I've dedicated a clear portion of my time to making art for myself and a clear portion to supporting other Black women that struggle, and other Asian women that have a struggle in accessing. I've made that decision. So for me, it's really fun because there's a clear space where I can do that. So yeah.
Okay. So what would be I suppose the big takeaway, the big, Simon's talked about some of the real challenges facing the sector. You've put another spin on it. You've said how you've actually grown, developed, and sort of maybe has moved in a sort of different direction. What's been the big takeaway with the big plus from lockdown?
What has been the positive? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's a weird one because I do hear Simon on those struggles, like the difficulties, because venues closing is a big problem because that's where everything happens. And I guess I don't speak about this as openly usually, but I feel comfortable to right now. So I have a health condition called SLE lupus. So when COVID hit, I got put in the shielding community. So that was like difficult, being honest, because nobody really knew how to approach it at first. Like, you know, my family and my sisters all proper like leaving me alone, like in the room, and I was like, what's going on? So I think that had a mental health effect because that was just adjustment. Do you know what I mean? Like, all my appointments stopped. I was concerned about like basic things that I'd never been concerned about before. So there was different things to worry about, different things to factor in. So I just think it's a process. But yeah, as a positive, or try to be a positive mental person, it's like you don't want to let something be an obstacle. Do you know what I mean? You want to kind of just always pivot around the fact that it's possibly trying to kill us all. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, thanks ever so much, Namaya, for sharing those insights.
Cool.
Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.
Thanks a lot. Now we move on to another sector we're looking at, which is sort of the Bangladeshi catering sector, which is massively influential in the UK for a number of levels. First is the income; it sort of generates incomes and jobs, but equally, it's supposed to be our favourite cuisine as well. So less positively, it's a sector that was facing really seismic challenges before COVID. They've been intensified because of lockdown. And I'm keen now to hear from our partners who are helping us with the project. Can I start off with Bashir? Bashir Ahmed represents the Bangladeshi network, which is a network of organizations that represent caterers in that sector. And he's also trying to draw attention to the challenges that they face. Good morning, Bashir.
Good morning, Wanda. Morning, everyone.
Yeah, tell us a little about what you think are the main challenges facing the sector.
Well, just like you just explained a little bit about the back, 2 years ago, we came to you with a proposal that the network of businesses that we work with are going through a big struggle around productivity. The supply of labor was a big critical issue. Management structures and systems, it was a big problem. Every week businesses were closing down due to lack of support, and we didn't really know exactly what was the causes behind it. And we approached the center to have some analysis done in terms of, so that we can understand what kind of support could be requested from various sectors, and what the businesses themselves could do in order to help themselves. So in terms of, while the study was going on, COVID happened, and I think it just pushed it to another level now. And in terms of the impact of it, it will be another few months before we know. And in the meantime, from my contact, I've noticed a lot of people have already lost jobs. Some of the businesses are already closed down because they're small, very small in themselves. Some are just family businesses. So in terms of their recovery and what the future holds for them, it's going to be a big challenge. But that's where your center will be critical in terms of really watching things carefully in the next coming week to understand what exactly has gone on. Although with a little bit of support from the government, Eat Out and all this stuff will help temporarily. But I don't know. I think a big damage has been done to these businesses, and to pick up from there, it's going to be a major struggle, I think.
Okay, Bashir, I think that gives us a really useful overview of the challenges facing the sector as a whole. Keen to hear from Shahab Uddin, who is the owner of Strictly Balti. When I ever hear that name, I always want to say Strictly Balti, but it is actually Strictly Balti. And Shahab is actually at the front end of some of these challenges. Tell me a little about yourself and the impact on your particular business.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me here. Strictly Balti has been established now 27 years. It's a small restaurant, so they've got 9 tables. It was generally a struggle before COVID with regards to, as Bashir put out, staffing issues and structural change within the industry. COVID came and we had to close down. It was quite difficult. A lot of us small SME businesses, as you call them, we've been operating in the last couple of years like on the last end, where you're making ends meet every week by week, you're just getting by. And then when COVID comes and it closes and you haven't got a cash surplus in the bank account to be used on a rainy day as such, then the struggles get really, really difficult. We were shut for 4 weeks. I was lucky that we had a good takeaway section in our restaurant, because obviously with only 9 tables, we needed to do a good amount of takeaway. So when we reopened as a takeaway, we were managing to just survive. Eat Out to Help Out has helped. First couple of weeks, it was very difficult. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, we were really busy. But the Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, we were sitting there doing nothing. It was unbelievable. I had a Saturday night where we had just the 1 table in, which is unheard of in a restaurant ever, to be honest. Last week and the week before, it was a lot better. So we had a few more customers on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I'd been telling everybody, look, you're all trying to come on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Please try and come on the other days, otherwise there's no point. So it took me a while to get the message across. But the last week, it was good. Thursday, Friday, Saturday was much better. We had a few more customers, and the week balanced out a lot better. I do think had the government done this Eat Out to Help Out for all 7 days, it would have probably been better for us. But 3 days was a help. In terms of COVID, I think a lot of my friends in the restaurant industry, the bigger restaurants, they were really, really struggling. And some of them were thinking of closing down. This Eat Out to Help Out has really helped them because they've got the capacity to sit maximum people on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if they were doing less trade on the other days, they outdid that in those 3 days. So it helped a lot of the bigger restaurants, but smaller restaurants are still struggling. I think there's a lot of us. We need to change our way of running a business. Our business model has to now evolve to stay in line with 2020, how other business models are running. And this is where we are struggling. This is where we need help from guys like yourself to show us that there's another way of doing business, not just the way that you've been doing all of this time. And that's what I'm looking forward to learning from you guys in the next few months, hopefully.
Just on that point, Shahab, a lot of people in the sort of business or the commentary are throwing terms around like pivoting, the need to sort of drastically change your business model. I mean, how easy is that to do in your kind of business and the sector per se?
I think when they say to drastically change it, I personally believe that the reason why the curry industry has survived and thrived for the last 30, 40 years is because of our cooking style and our food. If you look at other foods, international cuisines, they don't actually survive very well on a takeaway, whereas a curry is almost perfect for a takeaway. So we don't need to do drastic changes in our core model. What we need to do is changes in our business model, in how we operate, in how we run the business, in how we do pricing, this kind of stuff, how we market our business. I think that's where we're struggling. But in terms of the core aspects of our business, our cooking styles and the food that we put out, I don't think we need to change that at all. I think that's fine.
One thing I learned from my discussions with you, Shahab, and other caterers was the impacts, the pluses and minuses of sort of registering with mobile support like Deliveroo and Uber Eats, etc. I mean, your sector runs on a really tight margin, and so someone who doesn't know a lot about the sector, people say, well, why can't you just do a pivot to Deliveroo or Uber Eats? But I didn't realize, I suppose, how challenging in terms of the price pressure that puts on you. Their margins seem quite significant. So how feasible is that, and what kind of impact does that have on your business?
I personally have resisted joining any third-party organization simply because I can't get the maths around my head. If a takeaway has got 30% profit on his menu, and then you sign up to a third party like Just Eat, for example, or Deliveroo, and they're taking 20% with their commissions and everything else, how then does 10%, how is that enough for you to survive when you're left with 10% at the end of the month? And don't forget that these companies tend to hold on to your money for a couple of weeks, not 3 or 4 days. So you don't get paid till 2 weeks later. There's a lot of takeaways who were doing a really poor amount of trade. And these are the takeaways and restaurants that actually joined up to Just Eat initially. And for them, it was great because at the end of the week, they were looking at, oh, my business has gone up by a few grand, I'm doing really well. What they didn't take into account was that initially, there's a few factors. I mean, the two main factors are that 30% profit margin, 20% has gone already with them. That doesn't take into account that now you're busier, you've had to take on a couple of more staff. It doesn't take into account now you're busier, your shopping has gone up, your utilities has gone up. It doesn't take into account now that you're busier, you probably reached the VAT threshold. So on top of giving them 20%, at the end of the quarter, you're going to give 20% VAT as well. So do you actually have any money left over in your pocket, or are you short? For me, the maths, it's like you're ending up short at the end of the quarter. Yes, you're taking that the end of the week look like, oh yeah, it's much better, it's bigger. But when you actually calculate all the costs and everything involved in that, at the end of the quarter, are you actually making more money or are you losing more money? So to me, it looks like you're losing more money, but that's why I wouldn't join. But there's thousands of people that have joined, and all I hear all week from various different people is, oh yeah, business is all right, but no money in my pocket. I can't afford to do this now. I can't afford to. Well, sorry, mate, but you need to do the maths. Yeah, do the maths properly. Yeah. And that's what we need to learn from centers like yourself. You know, these guys, we need to learn how to actually do proper costing in a business.
Excellent. We'll come on to that later on, and then you'll get a chance to sort of give us some of your thoughts on that. Let me move on now to another sort of sector, the sort of service and the retail sector. We're looking at in our project. We're looking at what productivity means for that sector, but we're also looking at, and perhaps we'll focus on this issue in this segment, the impact of COVID. One of our key partners is Citizens UK, a nationally recognised civil society alliance, and we're CREM and Aston University very proud to be members of Citizens UK, who are really helping us get access and get an understanding of businesses who are not only plying their trade, but also providing invaluable support to communities under real pressure during these challenging times. So I'm delighted that we've got the regional organiser of Citizens UK Birmingham with us, Said Al-Haq. Said, tell us a bit about Citizens UK, your role on the project and your experiences so far with local businesses.
Morning, thanks Monda. Fascinating to hear colleagues on the panel already speaking. You could listen to them all day. Citizens UK is a national charity in 14 towns and cities. In each town and city, we have a local alliance of faith, education, union, community groups, businesses, and voluntary organisations. In Birmingham, we have 23 member organisations. We've been working with Aston University, CREM, on a project that's called the Business Leaders Project. So we've been really, some of the things that you've heard colleagues mention, trying to persuade mainstream organisations to get business support out to communities, high streets that really get missed out. So, you know, our communities, many years in the city, you know, like when big ticket events come, you know, of course the city centre gets publicity, various other places get publicity, but if you're Streetly Balti, you know, in Sturchley, you know, if you're a amazing set of performers and outfits in Handsworth, you know, you don't see the light of day. You know, we're going to have a major Commonwealth Games in 2022. You know, we've got huge amount of investment in the city, but it rotates around a particular brand of Birmingham, and a lot of our communities and members that we're not even the alternative. The alternative is, you know, Digbeth, Kings Heath, Jewellery Quarter, you know, that's the alternative. You know, location can go. You know, Channel 4 and home programs can go. You know, so the people that you're working with, the communities we work with, you know, we're probably the alternative to the alternative. So, you know, if Visit Birmingham's watching this, if, you know, This Is My City are connected to the Commonwealth Games, like, you know, people need to hear loud and clear that what you represent is the brand Birmingham, that includes some folks, you know, on this panel. So during COVID-19, our membership were really concerned. We're really concerned about communities, people and small businesses that we would. So we have a long-standing relationship, journalists, because of the high-profile campaigns we do. And, you know, we got a call from Sky News about, you know, we're always on the kind of cover of some story that coming up. And, you know, I want to introduce my colleague, Tsitsi Mudokwani. Tsitsi is in the Zimbabwean community, not just here in Birmingham, across the region, but with many others, you know, across the country. And we've been, you know, delighted, benefiting from, you know, Zimbabwe community being part of our ship. Tsitsi accomplished entrepreneur running an amazing social enterprise, which is a care firm, one of the few care that are accredited to do some clinical. It's a bit too complicated for me, but so when the journalist rang and says, look, you know, what's some of your kind of top stories? I had to say this, look, you got to go talk to Tsitsi Mudokwani, all right? You really got to go talk to her because she's on the front line. And what I realized in April, this is, you know, the first week of April, and she'll tell you the story in a minute about the businesses struggling with PPE. And they were visiting people in their homes, care providers, when the last PPE, because you're not NHS, you're not, you know, kind of high profile. And at that time, the story that Tsitsi will share about the care providers and everybody that they work with is they were at risk, and lo and behold, you know, in June, Public Health England report come out. You know, as you were saying, was really ahead of the curve. Communities know it, but officials several months to come up, and it's a kind of sad story. But the best part in the story is that, you know, solidarity. It's rest of Citizens UK and very partners we have at CREM coming to. I wouldn't use the word rescue, but, you know, coming in support. On the end of it, it's an opportunity where we've set up something called the Business Leader Group, which is going on the door of Commonwealth Games and HS2 and everybody else, and say, hey, you know, think of a brand we didn't what you're used to. But, you know, I'll just kind of pause there, and if you don't mind, Munda, you know, I don't want to take up airspace for Tsitsi because when she starts speaking, she's so fascinating. Over to you, Tsitsi.
What an introduction, Tsitsi. Tell us a bit about yourself, your company, your experiences during this time.
Hi guys, just before you do that, I'm just going to interject and just let you know that you have, 35 minutes have gone, so you won't have much question and answer section, so you can carry on for your full 50 minutes if you want to, unless
is it 10 to? Is it 10 to we finish? I thought it was.
Yeah, 20, yeah, give you a heads up on that.
Is it 10 to that we finish?
10 to, yeah.
Okay then, all right.
All right.
Okay, Tsitsi, thanks.
Okay, my name is Tsitsi Mudokwani, and I think Said has said it all. I'm from Zimbabwe originally, and I am a registered nurse. I used to work with the NHS and then started my own business with my sister as my business partner. We are both nurses. Just going straight to what Said has been saying, the COVID did hit us badly in terms of acquiring the PPEs, which is the aprons, gloves, and masks to those who are not in the health industry. We couldn't get any suppliers who were able to give us what we needed so as to do our job properly and protecting our staff as well. The reason being that we are not an NHS organization, everything was being focused on NHS, which was really sad because we are contracted by NHS as well. So the clients we are having, they are NHS clients. So because we are connected to Citizens UK, Said, he's always there checking if we are, you know, having any challenges. So at that occasion, he phoned and we said, yeah, this is the problem we have. Little did I know that, you know, I was going to be so famous, and I ended up being on the Sky News. My staff Some of the clients who agreed when we asked for their consent, they were filmed showing the world that this is what is happening. We don't have any PPEs. We're expected to do much to help these citizens who are being nursed in their own homes. So that was dealt with. Immediately we had a lot of donations coming. As far as the Jaguar Land Rover, they even supplied us also with some face, the visor which covers the whole face. As we thought that, that is enough, we have moved. The government announced that, if the carers and the nurses are going for work, they shouldn't use the public transport. Most of our carers, they don't drive, they rely on buses. And it was upon us as a company to make a quick decision. We have only 4 cars which are being used, but when they are coming from their homes, because they are coming from different areas, we were now going to use taxis, and the money was running out. So again, we had an advice again from Citizens UK. They help us to apply for a grant, which we ended being given, which helped us a lot. And then we thought, oh yeah, things are happening. There is a lot of work which needs to be done. We were praying that most of our carers and ourselves don't fall ill or don't become ill with this COVID. Otherwise, it was going to be a chaos, which, our God had us. Not much of our staff went off sick. The way they were working, it was very, very hard, almost 24/7, and there was no remuneration. We could want to give them more because we could see what they are doing, but the government didn't see it in the way we were seeing it. The NHS didn't see it the way we were seeing it. The community as well, they didn't see it as we were seeing it. Even those children whom had the parents we are looking after, or the families who have got brothers and sisters as young, whom we were looking after, no one was giving recognition to our carers. So we also again try and, as I was discussing with Said, he sent us another, link for an application, which we did to try and give a remuneration to our carers, which it was successful. And we said from the period of COVID, we increased the wages for our carers. Everyone was receiving £1 extra, which became very, very, very good for them. I remember when they get their first wages in COVID, one said to me, "Madam, I want to buy you a house," because she had got a huge sum of money which she has never been paid before, which we thought it was really good. And because of our link with Citizens UK, most of these things were being achieved. The last part was also on the test of COVID for our staff. Some of these things, when government is introducing or giving the information or guidance, they will just say, without even consulting everyone who is involved, they said, they decided to have a drive-through test, but most carers, they don't drive. They were not supposed to take a taxi. So how then were they going to be tested? It becomes so difficult. It was just a guessing game that, whether, you are or you are not. How are you feeling? If you feel you are strong, you don't have this, the symptoms, then it's fine. You should carry on working. But in a way, that wasn't supposed to be. So luckily, not much of our clients and our staff, like I said before, had these COVID symptoms. So, much, didn't, it didn't affect us as much. But the way it was being done to say, if you can only drive, then that's when you can go and be tested. we feel if they had introduced a walk-in for those who do not drive, or if they had allocated a hospital where they would say this center is for those carers who are not driving. The other issue also which we saw, like I said before, that our staff were not being recognized. If they want to go into a supermarket just for a quick, when they are on their break, because they are working the whole day, 12 hours a day, by the time they finish, the shops will be closed. So the government said, and the shop owners, they were saying, if you are an NHS staff, then you can be given priority. But because my carer will have their uniform written Sisters Care Services, they were not allowed. They were supposed to join the queue, which we find it was really, really demoralizing on the staff. Also, the McDonald's, the KFC, they were giving food free to the NHS staff. But with our carers, there was nothing. So as we are looking, hoping that there's going to be a second wave, our cry is, if everyone is included, not to choose on NHS, because they are not the only ones who are doing, helping, the community in terms of the healthcare industry. Everyone who is a carer, everyone who is a nurse, everyone who is a doctor, no matter where you are working, they should be treated the same, because they are doing the same kind of job. And with the ones who are on in the hospital, at least they are, in one environment, whereas these are, like ours, they are moving from one house to another. The
That's
risk
a very
of them...
thanks, Tutsi. That's a very powerful message to conclude.
Okay.
We've got a few minutes now to conclude with, I suppose, observations of what to do next. So maybe what kind of responses would really help businesses and the sector. Simon, I want to bring you in now with some of your thoughts. You talked very powerfully at the start, and I think a number of colleagues have talked about the importance of networks and responding quickly.
Yeah, well, I'd also just like to comment a little on, I think, responding to what other people are saying there as well.
Yeah, sure.
And to bring in some of my stats. So just keep an eye on on my time. Apparently, there's been a survey which I can share. They've interviewed, I think, something like 300,000 audience members and a lot of different providers. So 81% of people, 317 organisations and 137,000 people, 81% are concerned for survival. And I think this is going to be true for everybody who's speaking today as a micro business. 81% of the public are concerned for our survival, but they only want to spend 4% more. People are 84% are interested in receiving stuff online, but only half will pay for it. And I think going back to what Jan was saying about and also Saeed as well, about the alternative to the alternative. And how we are the alternative, and how smaller organisations are missing out, how we're all missing out. The Eat Out to Help Out, and also these things that we were just being, which I think is amazing about how you can't healthcare people not getting things that are designed for healthcare people. You might have seen that this is the last. I'm going to say two more things, and this is one of them. The Arts Council have given millions of pounds in funding to organisations, and they're very quick to tout how that's been directed. But because they're a government organisation, they have to actually publish the statistics. And if you look at the statistics, you find that organisations that are not regularly funded, in the Midlands, which is all of us, we're getting the lowest number of grants funded and the lowest total sum funded awarded to any region. I got the stats to back that up as well. Hang on, individuals, black artists, BME artists, they're the highest number of applicants, but they get the lowest percentage of the funding. And that's one.
That's quite a common pattern, Simon. I know we've only got a couple of minutes left, and I just want to give.
Yeah, all right. I'm moving on that now. And that, I think, ties into the idea that there's these initiatives like Eat Out to help out, the thing about testing, driving testing, and how it's completely missing the people who are supposed to be, who are going to need it more than anybody else. I think that's exactly the same with the initiatives. The people who are putting these initiatives in place and spending money, taxpayers' money, lottery money, which of course comes from the poorest people in the country, don't understand the organisations that they're supposed to be helping. And this difference between getting in, and I think Shard would agree with me that we're, if you're running a business now, we're prepared to do what we need to, we're prepared to take steps to move forward, but staying in, and this thing about investing in the future, not the past, and not supporting the too big to fail organisations, that's where P-Word comes in, because we haven't got that much in common with other arts organisations. What we've got is in common with the other alternative to the alternative organisations and the other people that I'm hearing on this today. That's
excellent. I'm going to leave the final word to you. And Simon, can you put the link to P-Word on the chat, please, if you've got a chance?
Yeah, we'll do.
All right. Shab, final word to you. What do we need to do? Final word.
What do we need to do?
Yeah. In a sentence, apart from visit your curry house.
Yeah, apart from visit my career. We need to adapt. Keyword of survival is adaptation and evolution. So if small businesses are going to survive, we need to learn how to adapt. We need to learn how to change with the times. And obviously we need the government to help us achieve this as quickly as possible, the sooner rather than later. Thank you very much, everyone.
I just want to thank everyone on the call. Our time's just about up. It's been a fascinating discussion. I'm looking forward to working with you further to advance some of these issues. If you want to learn more, contact the Centre for Research in Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship, and we can give you all the leads, contacts for the excellent colleagues who've been on the show today. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the bank holiday day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. I will be getting in touch myself.
Okay. Thank you. Cheers.
Really interesting to be a part of. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.